Hi everybody. How are you? Are you well? I am. I hope you are also. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the 5 top reasons I had for going into this nomadic lifestyle. I mean, how do you go from working a full-time job, living in a sticks and bricks, to living on the road in your van? What was I thinking? What was going through my head? What created this type of change? So 5 major reasons. There's quite a few of them, but I got 5 major ones. And number 1 was, and I never hear anybody really talk about this, but I wanted a completely new lifestyle. After you've worked in a hospital for 40 years, in a room with no windows, and you don't know what it's like outside, and I was such an outdoor person, I really wanted a completely new lifestyle. I was so burned out on the rat race of just going to work, coming home, sitting on the couch, getting something to eat, cleaning up, going to bed, getting up in the morning, going to work. If you were lucky, you got a 2-week to a month vacation. If you were lucky, you got a month. And it just, I wanted something in this new chapter of my life when I retired that I could look forward to. I didn't want to be sitting on the couch. All my friends would still be at work, their 9-to-5 job. So it's like I would just be sitting there. I've got quite a few hobbies that will keep me busy, but it's still hobbies basically that are in the house. So my number 1 reason was I wanted a completely new lifestyle. I wanted to be excited about tomorrow or next week or next month. And if I got bored where I was or what I was doing, I wanted the ability to completely go somewhere else and try something different. I wanted a new look outside my window every now and then when I woke up. Not the same old look, the same old landscape. I wanted some new experiences. I wanted a new lifestyle. It's the only way I can really put it. Reason number 2 that I chose van life is because when I looked at my bills, like I said, I was getting ready to retire. I was going on Social Security, and I looked at this mound of bills I had, and I thought, how in the world am I going to make all my bills? I'm going to have to move into a cheaper area of Houston, which could be, doable, but that's not really what I wanted to do. I didn't want to get out my savings account every month, pull out of that just to make the bills. So what was I going to do from month to month? How was I going to meet these bills? So I wanted out from under all that financial burden. When I started thinking about van life, I started thinking, well, I could live in an RV. And so I put in my web browser, cheap RV, because I was going to look at the prices of RVs first. And cheap RV living came up. It's a huge website about living in a van. And when I started reading that and started looking at the fact that some people were living on the road in a van or minivan for $600 to $800 a month, it was like, my goodness, it is doable to be out here. I was going to be making more than that. So I thought, I really could get out from under all this financial pressure. That was number 2, finances. Reason number 3 is when we used to get a 2-week vacation, we would go to Colorado, and every time I would cry at the end of the 2 weeks because we were heading back to Texas, and it was probably going to be another year before we got to Colorado again. So it was very, very upsetting to me. I wanted to travel. There was so many things I wanted to see in the United States. But you know what? My one thing I wanted to do right away is I wanted to go to Colorado, and I wanted to stay there as long as I wanted to stay there, with no time restrictions on me. And that's actually what I ended up doing. And boy, I just absolutely loved it. But since then I've been up into Maine, I've been up into Canada. I went to South Dakota and saw the bison. I've seen wild horses out in Arizona. I've been up into the Grand Canyon area and then up into Flagstaff, where you're up in the mountains of the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. And I've been all over the place. Not only did I want to see the United States, but I wanted to see family and friends who are spread all over the country. I have family that are still in upper state New York. Some are in Kentucky, some are in Florida. My daughter was 4.5 hours away in Fort Worth. I have a sister in Arizona. When I say I have family all over the place, I really mean it. And I wanted to be able to go and see them and actually pull up and maybe stay 2 or 3 weeks, not have to live in their house, and still feel like, I wonder if I've stayed too long. I wanted to be in my van where I have all my own stuff. But I wanted to go and visit and stay as long as I wanted to stay. Number 4 was I wanted the freedom to move when I wanted to move. Sometimes, you know, you get into a neighborhood, you buy a home, it's absolutely great, but then the neighbor next door after 3 years sells their home and a bunch of wackadoodles move in, and you're just thinking, oh my gosh, you know, they're blaring their music, they're having loud parties, you know, they're shooting firecrackers off out on the street, and you're just like, what am I going to do? I mean, the peace and quiet of your home is actually no more. I mean, I lived in an apartment and it was starting to get crazy. I keep up with that neighborhood now, and it's just bizarre, the things that have happened. I mean, they're having Amazon packages stolen, they're having their cars broken into at night, they're having people coming up and ringing their doorbell at 3 o'clock in the morning, they're having their mail stolen, the dogs are running loose. It's just like, my goodness, I'm so glad I'm not there. So, you know, you can get into a bad situation, you turn the key, you leave. Another thing, you get bored of the scenery outside your slide door, and you think, you know what? I'm tired of this here. I'm going to go there. You know, when I'm in Arizona, I'll get tired of the desert. 3 hours, you're up into the mountains, up into the Flagstaff area, and up around the Grand Canyon, and it's a totally different scenery. You know, sometimes I just want to sit on the beach and watch the waves for a week. You know, watch the silly little birds that are running up and down the coast there. You know, I just want to change the scenery. So yeah, just the ability to move around and change where you're living, or change your neighbors, or change your landscape. I mean, that was a biggie for me. That was number 4. This one you don't even realize until I started really doing a lot of research, is there's a whole community of us out there. I mean, there are so many people living in their vans or minivans, and we all have the same kind of nomad spirit. So it's so easy. It's so easy. I mean, after years of living in Houston, I probably have less than 10 friends that I could call or depend on, probably less than 5. But out here, I have so many, because we all have the same kind of life, and we're all dealing with the same kind of issues, and we're all having the same kind of experiences, and we love to share. Because when I've been in my van driving around or staying out at a campsite by myself for a couple of weeks, if I park at a Cracker Barrel at night and I see somebody next door in a van that's got out-of-state plates, as soon as they come out of that van, I'm going to say, hey, how are you? Do you live in your van? I do. And and it sparks a conversation right there. I started doing that one time right outside of New Orleans, and I ended up getting invited by her and her husband to hang with them the whole time I was in New Orleans. I mean, it's just, we have so much in common. There are websites where you can go on to and you can meet up with caravans. They can be all women, all solo, all, all divorcees, you know, whatever you want. And then you just go on that website, join that Facebook group, find out where they are, join up with them. If you get along really well, you can hang with them. Sometimes they all split off, you know, 3 or 4 will be going that way, 2 or 3 will be going that way. You know, you'll find your really good friends in that group, and off you go with them, and you travel with them as long as you want to, and when you don't want to anymore, you break off and go your own way. I've been out there alone where all of a sudden it's like, I really want some company, and I'll just send out a text, Maddie, Maddie Van Halen, he's one of my really good friends out there. Maddie, where are you? And I'll find out he's only an hour and a half away. Or Dolly and Tara, my other 2 really good friends. Well, we're right here outside of Quartzsite. Joe, come meet us. And you know, I just turn the key, go meet up with my friends, hang with them for a couple of weeks. I mean, the community out here is unbelievable. You will be so impressed. So many people worry about being lonely. You're only as lonely as you want to be. You may be lonely right the first 6 months as you're trying to figure out this lifestyle and figure out, where can I meet these people? But yeah, keep following me. I'll show you where to go. So that was my number 5. I wanted a new lifestyle. I needed the financial stuff. I wanted to be able to travel. I wanted the freedom to move whenever I wanted to move. And I wanted to find my community, my tribe, as they say out here. I would be really interested in knowing what your 5 reasons are. So if yours are a little different from mine, or you've got one in there that I haven't thrown in, like I said, there's so many, so many reasons, you know, and it's just really remarkable. The things that really motivate us to do this. But give me a shout out, and thank you so much for visiting. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.